Hey guys, welcome in. Welcome in. We're going to be checking out day 2 of the firefighter and his wife that was murdered by the neighbor. Ritzy, preppy, college kid, lived next door, crazy psycho dude. And he's shot these two people, so we're going to check out day 2. They've been started for a couple hours now, so we're going to be on 1.25 to catch up. All right, here we go.
And to not have any interference with that. Right, I think we're good. All right, good morning, everyone. I am Judge Sonia Brown. I am the presiding judge for this criminal trial of the state of Georgia versus Matthew Scott Lanz, case number 2200922. We are present here in the open courtroom, present in the court, the clerk, the court reporter. Mr. Lanz is represented by Attorney Jimmy Berry. The state is represented by Assistant District Attorneys Green and Horowitz. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. And then we're going to continue with the state's presentation of evidence. Is there anything that we need to put on the record, any procedural that we need to discuss, or any matters that need to be taken up with the court before we proceed?
Not in the sense, we got some time this morning to go through some of the exhibits, so we can move on.
Thank you.
That's right, nothing to say. Thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it. State, you may call your next witness.
State calls Sergeant Steven Sinatra.
Hey, welcome in, welcome in.
Raise your right hand, please. You do solemnly swear or
Good
affirm the
morning.
testimony you're about to give the court on the issue now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
You have a seat for me, and once seated, if you would please state and spell your true and correct legal name for the record.
Yes, ma'am. Stephen, Stephensinatra.
Hey, he spells his name the right way,
How are you employed?
with the
I'm
PH.
with Cobb County Police.
That's how I spell my name.
Right now I'm a sergeant with the patrol division.
Spell it with a V is for the
Prior
sissies.
to today or now, what were you doing back in 2021?
I was working with the Crimes Against Persons Unit in the Major Crimes Bureau.
I do want to remind those who are on Zoom that you need to remain muted unless you are specifically directed to speak by the court or asked by one of the attorneys. Again, please mute your devices. We're getting feedback into the courtroom, and if we continue to get feedback, again, Zoom is a courtesy. We will have to turn the Zoom off, and the court does not want to do that because I know there are people who want to observe, but we cannot have any interference from those who are on Zoom during these proceedings. I apologize, Amy. You may continue.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Were you a detective with the Major Crimes Division?
I was.
And were you involved in this investigation involving
Good morning.
murders of
Welcome in,
Cynthia Harris?
Twitch.
Yes.
Did you respond to the scene on November
My
18th,
loyal,
of
faithful
2021?
Twitch follower.
And was your supervising sergeant at that time, Sergeant Mark Caskey?
Yes.
All right. During the course of your time on scene, did you assist with the collection of 3 shell casings?
I did.
Okay, why is it that you were specifically assisting with the collection of those 3 casings?
At the time that I was a detective, I was also the task force officer with ATF, and we were going to send those casings away to retrieve DNA, and so I collected them in a manner that was consistent with collection procedures to be able to obtain DNA.
Okay. Was that somewhat different than the normal collection procedures when you're sending something off to GBI?
Yes.
All right, why specifically were y'all using ATF's crime lab in this case?
They were a resource afforded to us because of the TFO position that I held at the time, and the lab was more thorough than our normal GBI testing.
Were they also able to expedite this in a substantial way?
Yes.
And is that because at the time this was, we did not have a known perpetrator back on November 18th of 2021?
Correct.
Prior to testifying this morning, did you have the opportunity to open State's Exhibits 602, 603, and 604 that were tendered yesterday?
I did.
Okay, and did you open those in the presence of defense counsel, Mr. Jimmy Berry?
Yes.
Within those packages of State's Exhibits 602, 603, and 604, were there smaller manila envelopes?
Yes.
Okay, and did you recognize both the smaller envelopes as well as the larger envelopes?
Yes.
Are those in fact the casings that you specifically collected and packaged for the ATF on November 18th of 2021?
Yes.
And I know you said that there was a specific manner to collect them when you knew you wanted to test them for DNA. What is that manner or method?
The manner is opening a sterile swab, basically turning it around and using the wooden end to pick up the shell casing, and then placing it inside the smaller envelope and sealing it immediately.
Very good. And is that what you did in this case?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to show you first State 602 on the screen here, is this both the larger package and smaller package that you assisted packaging for ATF?
Yes.
And if I zoom in here down at the bottom, what type of casing was this?
9mm caliber, and the manufacturer is SIG, SIG.
Now looking at state 603 here, both the larger package and then also zooming into the smaller package here. What type of casing was in 603?
9mm caliber, and same manufacturer as SIG.
And here where we have the name Howell, who was Howell?
That's Jennifer Howell, the crime scene technician at the time.
Was she working under the direction of Sergeant Mark Askew?
Yes.
Finally looking at 604 here, and then zooming into the smaller manila envelope, what type of casing was the third casing collected from 5059 Verbena?
Caliber 9mm manufacturer is SIG.
And then finally, during the course of gathering these items for potential DNA evidence, did you send your own buckle swabs in?
I did.
Okay, and what was the purpose of that?
That is for elimination purposes, because during collection, sometimes there's inadvertent transfer of DNA, so that way the lab is able to distinguish DNA.
Now, when you use a sterile swab, are you also using gloves?
Correct.
Okay, so do you take measures to prevent your DNA from actually transferring onto items of evidence?
Yes.
Out of an abundance of caution, do you then also send your own buckles in the event that somehow your DNA did inadvertently end up on these casings?
Yes.
Right, was that all collected and sent to ATF as well?
Yes.
Okay. Give me just a moment. That's all I have, thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Mary, you may proceed.
Thank you. Good morning, Sergeant.
Morning, sir.
A couple of questions. Was there anything gleaned from the DNA, any DNA off the cartridge?
I just collected the casing, sir. I'm not sure. I wasn't the main casing.
Okay, so you just did the collection, but you don't know whether anything was ultimately found?
Yes, sir. I just did the collection.
Okay. Were there any other items that you collected when you were on the scene back on November the 18th?
No, sir. The only things that I had my hands on specifically was the shell casings, which I collected in this particular manner, and then everything else was done by the crime scene technician, to my knowledge.
Okay. And crime scene unit didn't give you anything to have tested by any other lab or anything of that nature?
No, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Are there any other questions for this witness?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Witness, be excused.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Have a good day, ladies.
I know.
Sergeant Mark Askew, and one that I brought back is okay. Thank you.
All right, State, may call your next
The
witness.
state calls Detective Ronson Smith.
Someone in your office about to get him.
You're about to give the court on the issue now pending shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Can you please have a seat for me? And once seated, if you would please state and spell your true and correct legal name of the record.
It's Ronson Smith, and it's spelled R-O-N-S-O-N, and the last name is Smith, common spelling S-M-I-T-H.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective, how are you employed?
Currently employed with the Cobb County Police Department as a reserve police officer.
What does it mean to be a reserve police officer?
I have retired in 2017 and returned in 2019 to a position that I had occupied prior to my retirement.
So do you still do detective work?
I do.
Right, and what unit are you assigned to?
Overall, the umbrella of the major crimes unit, more specifically to the technology-based crimes unit.
Wonderful. And the technology-based crimes unit, I know you said you were in that position before retirement and returned to it. So how many years total have you worked? Oops. Okay. That's okay. I can re-ask the question. All right. So you said that you were previously in the division prior to retirement and then returned to that same division. How many years total have you been with the technology-based crimes unit?
Since 2009, so
15, 16 years, something like that? And what are your primary job responsibilities with the technology-based crimes unit?
Primarily, I'm in there for forensic video analysis and acquisition, and up until recently, I was doing mobile device forensics and some light computer forensics.
Okay, very good. I want to focus with this case on the forensic video acquisition and analysis. What does that mean?
It's a scientific approach and methodology to making evaluation of recording systems and the footage that's recovered from surveillance systems, comparisons in some cases, and examining those systems to make sure they're operating correctly.
Did you start your focus in this area of forensic video acquisition and analysis prior to joining the technology-based crimes unit in 2009?
Yes, from 1998 until 2009, I was a member of the major case unit robbery homicide. And this forensic video analysis and acquisition came as a result of my casework in there. In 2002, I introduced to the Cobb County Police Department an idea that we could do better with surveillance video that we were receiving. And at that time, I promoted the idea of purchasing a non-linear video editing suite of tools and hardware. Non-linear video editing suite of tools. We did make that purchase, and I was trained with that vendor that we made the purchase from, and then began an introduction into training and utilization of those tools. That was in the video cassette days, when surveillance video was not digital, and then had progressed into current day technology with digital surveillance.
You've referenced some training that you've had. Approximately how many hours of training have you received in the field of forensic video acquisition and analysis over the years?
I would say over 200 hours. Much of it early on I didn't necessarily keep up with, but there were some of that is vendor training, and some of it is technical training through organizations such as the Law Enforcement and Emergency Services Video Association. Acronym for that is LEVA. They're one of the primary areas for receiving training. Attended a couple of their conferences, 2002 and 2003. These are week-long conferences usually with workshops in the evenings or on the weekend before the actual conferences start. So it's a number of hands-on type training situations. Plus reading the vendors' work and the scientific working group on imaging. Is also a good resource for learning these skills.
Excellent. You've also referenced that you promoted the suite of tools for Cobb County Police Department to use. Is there a specialized tool that's more prominent today that you use when conducting forensic video acquisition and analysis?
Yes. So currently there's a Axon, the company Axon has purchased what was a tool that we had bought at Cobb County called Input Ace. And now Axon has purchased that company. It's now called Investigate Pro, and it's a suite of software that we still use for digital surveillance video analysis.
And is that suite of tools from Investigate Pro approved by industry standards such as LEVA?
It does meet industry standards.
Now, the steps in acquiring video and analyzing video and the results that you achieve thereof, are those able to be repeated by somebody who has your same training and skill?
Yes, it's one of the goals when I approach a case is that any work product as a result of my analysis, that work product could be repeated by someone with my same skill set, the same software or hardware.
How many hours of your time currently is spent with forensic video acquisition and analysis?
Pretty much 100% of my time. I don't work full time. It is a part-time job, but basically 29 hours a week.
And have you spent roughly 29 or more hours a week on this focus since about 2009?
Well, from 2009 until my retirement, it was split between mobile device forensics and forensic video analysis, but and that was full time. Since I've been back, it's only when my time is more limited.
Sure. How many cases have you handled that have involved forensic video acquisition analysis, approximately?
Well, into the hundreds. I've calculated at one point, some years ago, about 125 cases a year when I was full time. I don't necessarily log each one, but as a primary function, it's hundreds.
How many hours of video have you acquired and analyzed over the course of your career?
Well, each one of those cases, and in many circumstances, the casework may involve a single system, but that's fairly unusual. It usually leads to the need for pulling video from other sources. In so many cases, may contain 5, 10, 20 locations where you've pulled video from, whether it's pertinent or not to the case, but it's thousands of hours.
Have you ever been tendered as an expert in video acquisition and analysis?
I have.
Okay, how many times?
Dozens.
And does that include here in Cobb County?
It does, primarily for Cobb County.
Judge, we have no problem tendering him as an expert.
Wonderful. We'll go ahead and tender him as an expert in forensic video acquisition and analysis.
Right, and so Detective Smith will be treated as an expert in forensic video analysis and acquisition.
Thank you, Your Honor. Now, as part of were you involved in this investigation of the murders of Justin and Amber Hicks?
I was.
What was your primary function in this investigation?
It is normally the case where I will learn of these types of incidents normally the day after, and I'll be briefed on circumstances or needs where they believe that I may be able to fulfill the role. In this case, it was the role of determining if there were surveillance video that could play a role in determining potentially access and egress from the location of the crime, and for any vehicles or persons that might be seen in the area.
In this particular case, did you, along with other detectives, conduct a canvass of the residential neighborhood?
Canvass was conducted, yes, and I did participate in that.
And as a result, were surveillance videos or surveillance video footage recovered from a number of residences?
Yes, the video was recovered from several locations.
Your Honor, at this time, per the stipulation, the state is going to tender State's Exhibit 462. In stipulation number 5, it reads that State's Exhibit 462 is a true and accurate copy of the surveillance video footage recovered from 581 Delphinium Boulevard, Ackworth, Georgia 30102. The state is also going to move to tender State's 463. Per stipulation number 6, it reads State's Exhibit 463 is a true and accurate copy of the surveillance video footage recovered from 5064 Verbena Drive, Ackworth, Georgia 30102. The state is also moving to tender State's Exhibit 464. Per stipulation 7, State's Exhibit 464 is a true and accurate copy of the surveillance video footage recovered from 5050 Verbena Drive, Ackworth, Georgia 30102. So we're moving on States 462, 463, and 464.
Defense?
That's right, Judge. We've got an opportunity to view those, and that's per stipulation.
Great, thank you. State's Exhibits 462, 463, and 464 as stipulated in paragraphs 5, 6, and 7 are admitted.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Now, Detective, did you recognize the addresses I just named?
I did.
All right, and have you personally gone through and analyzed the surveillance footage recovered from those 3 locations?
I have, yes.
In doing so, did you create smaller clips of pertinent timeframes?
Yes, I did.
All right, and prior to testifying, did you have the opportunity to look at State's Exhibit 465 called Concatenated Surveillance Video?
Yes, I did.
And did you recognize all of these smaller clips contained within that folder on the state's master drive?
Yes.
Are all of those video clips, did all of those originate from State's Exhibit 462, 463, and 464, the complete surveillance videos from those 3 addresses?
Yes.
At this time, State moves to tender State's 465 into evidence, and for the record, within State's 465, they are labeled A through O.
Okay. State's Exhibit 465 as labeled A through O are admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next, Detective, I'd like to show you State's Exhibit 475 through 478. I know you looked at these prior to testifying, but they were not numbered at the time, so I'll give you another opportunity.
Yes, I recognize them as the same images I looked at earlier.
Okay, and these images, are these maps?
Yes.
And do these maps include the addresses where surveillance video was acquired?
Yes, they do.
And then are those fair and accurate maps showing this general neighborhood and area in addition to the addresses in which you acquired video?
Yes.
State moves to tender States 475 through 478.
Objection?
No, Your Honor, we view those.
Thank you. States 475 and 478 are admitted.
And may I publish these, Your Honor?
Yes.
All right, so we are going to start with States Exhibit 475 here, you have your little TV in front of you as well, detective. So in states 475, what are the two addresses that are identified on this map?
5059 Verbena Drive and 600 Delphinium Boulevard.
And the 5059 Verbena address, whose residence was that?
The Hicks residence at the time.
And then the 600 Delphinium, what was the significance of that address?
It's the Lanz residence at the time.
And despite the Lanz residence having a Delphinium Boulevard address, what street did their driveway come off of?
On Verbena Drive.
And then the Hicks's residence, where is their driveway located?
On Verbena.
And so that where I'm indicating the two driveways on Verbena.
Yes, that's correct.
Now, since we are going to see some footage kind of further up the street, I want to look at states 476 here. Are you, I know it's not pinned, but do you also still see 5059 Verbena and 600 Delphinium?
Yes.
If you travel north up Verbena, were there any other addresses of interest where we will be seeing surveillance video?
I believe 5064 Verbena Drive is visible in that, just out of the curve.
Right here.
I believe so.
And so it's on the opposite side of the street as our two primary residences.
It is.
And then kind of to really get our bearings here, looking at states 477 here, what is the major roadway that these neighborhoods are, or this neighborhood is off of?
Bells Ferry Road.
Now from Bells Ferry Road, can you take Larkspur to get onto Verbena and make it down to the two addresses of interest?
Yes, you could.
And then is there also a way to access these addresses from Delphinium Boulevard?
Yes, Delphinium runs directly off of Bells Ferry.
And are those the two primary entry and exit points for Bells Ferry from this
Yes.
neighborhood? And then finally, jumping ahead a little, we will be looking at video from 581 Delphinium. Where is 581 Delphinium?
581 in this image is at the corner of Dahlia Way and Delphinium Boulevard.
Okay.
And in this image on the upper or the northern side of the roadway.
Okay, and so is this where I'm pointing right here?
Yes, that is 5.
Okay, and so kind of similarly, despite that it has a Delphinium address, where does its actual driveway head?
On Dahlia Way.
And going back just briefly to states 477 here. Oh, here we go, okay. Although it's not marked, is this tiny little cul-de-sac?
Yes, that's Dahlia Way on the north side of the roadway.
And so in order, if you cross Dahlia Way, can you make it back out onto Bells Ferry?
Yes.
Now that we have our bearings a little bit here, oh, and I should go back briefly. We look at State's Exhibit 475. What residence is directly across from the Hicks's residence?
5050 Verbena Drive has a driveway that is directly across the street from the 5059 Verbena Drive.
Is that one of the videos or one of the homes that you have also obtained footage that we will be looking at?
Yes.
So now I want to move forward to the surveillance clips. Your Honor, do I have permission to start publishing these clips?
Yes, you may proceed.
So looking here, starting at the very beginning, was there footage that you were able to review and analyze showing that Hicks actually arriving home on November 17th of 2021?
Yes, my initial video analysis was conducted on the video from 5050 Verbena.
50-50, thank you.
And that footage, having been obtained, was on a drive, and it appeared to be a camera that stored the footage on an SD card. And from that SD card, the files were visible. And so I began reviewing in 1906, I believe, was approximately the time when there was a vehicle truck that arrived at the Hicks address.
And how many individuals came out of that truck that arrived there in 1906?
There were 3 individuals, 2 adults and a child.
And when we're saying 1906, is that 7:06 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So we will begin by publishing States 465A. That was the entirety of A. I should ask you, Detective, the timestamp that we can see in the bottom right quadrant of this video, was that an accurate timestamp?
I believe so, yes.
And Your Honor, while it's probably less pertinent for this video, it certainly would be helpful in the other videos if we turn down the lights a little, because the lighting can be difficult. Really, just the ones near the TVs would be great.
Keep going.
There we go. All right. Next, we will publish States 465B, which is a continuation. State's now publishing 465C. And States 465D.
Man, that's just a shame.
So
That's
States
the last
465D,
time that they were
45
seen
seconds
alive,
to
or
go.
not really
Completed
seen, but last time that they were seen on
19:06.
camera or by anybody alive was when they went into the house that night
Back once more to start States 465D.
at
zooming in on
7:09
the Hicks's
p.m. It looks like. Locking his truck. There's little man.
I'll stop that at 32 seconds, the timestamp on the video being 19:019:34. Detective, was this, did you have any other footage of Justin, Amber, or Jacob alive through your analysis?
No, nothing that would actually, you could physically see them and it appeared to be them.
Nothing that showed their person?
Correct.
From there, what was the next time that you saw relevant video surveillance? What time frame?
The most relevant for the investigation was at 21 or 9:21 p.m.
And before we get there,
I apologize. At the residence or
anywhere.
Okay, so 9:20. Yes, in the 9:20 hour.
In the military time, is that 9:21?
21:20. Yes.
Very good. Before we get there, let me show you one other image. States 480 here. Do you recognize States 480?
Yes, I do.
Okay, and how is it that you recognize States 480?
This is a printout of digital image that I produced for the purposes, and I felt it was important to have a daylight view of the camera view that we were able to obtain from the residents across the street from the Hicks residence, only because it kind of emphasizes the point we don't get to choose the camera placements. We don't get to choose what equipment is used, and we don't get to choose how someone chooses to cover their property with cameras. And in this case, it's unfortunate that this camera was behind, on the interior of the home, behind double pane glass and a screen, shooting out, covering their driveway. And for their purposes, for those residents' purposes, that was probably what they wanted in order to cover their property, maybe vehicles that they leave in their driveway. But it did create difficulties, and so I created this image to show a daylight view of the challenges of this video.
So this time statement to tender States 480 into evidence.
Any objection? States 480 is admitted.
Sorry, to be blank, switch over if we can. Thank you. So just so that we
So
see
basically,
before
they
we
had
get
their
too much
camera
further
sitting
here,
on the
States
windowsill
480,
inside
is that
the house.
video footage or the camera angle that we just observed in States 465A through D?
It is, and this obviously is a daytime view with probably the best lighting, early morning light, depicting the actual, another indication was to show some of these, what was in the background, some of the landscape, some of the shrubbery, some of the trees, because in the nighttime images, they are very, very difficult to depict or to pick out of the images.
And so this kind of speckling or pattern that we see overlaid on this image, is that from the screen that you described?
It is from an actual screen mounted on the outside of a double pane window, and this camera is actually somewhat kind of pressed up against the interior glass. What this doesn't depict is that at night, when there's ambient light from inside the house, actually on the extreme outsides of this image at night, there are additional challenges because of ambient light from inside the home, reflecting back against the glass captured by the recording.
And were we able to kind of see some of that in the footage that we observed A through D?
We will, yes, we were, and we will be
And we'll
seeing
continue to,
that,
yes. Now, was that as detrimental to A through D showing the Hicks ride home?
It was not because of the abundance of light produced by the headlights, produced the fact that it's a large vehicle arriving, that lights were automatically turned on. The garage door ambient light is coming out into the driveway, so that creates a much clearer ability to see.
Will we see more difficulty as we go through the other footage?
We will.
All right, now kind of going back briefly to your expertise in this area, given the thousands of hours that you've observed surveillance footage systems, do you have a keen eye for things such as movement or objects or persons?
Yes.
And to be clear for the court, in terms of any persons seen on any of the following surveillance clips that we're going to show, are you able to definitively make any form of person identification?
Yeah.
Are you able to see human beings?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so if we can switch back over to the computer here. We will continue with States Exhibit 465E. Now before, let's see, I'm going to pause it first at 00 on video. The timestamp of the video is 21:20 in 20 seconds. Now that timestamp that we see in the upper left corner of the video footage, was that an accurate timestamp?
Yes, it was.
And this view that we see here, I'm not going to switch back to the map right this moment, but where was this home located?
5064 Verbena Drive.
Was that the residence that if you traveled north on Verbena, you would see it on the
Opposite
right.
side of the roadway from the Hicks and Lanz residence, yes.
All right, very good. And so on this image where I paused it, we can see a roadway just past this this residence's driveway. Which roadway is that?
That is Verbena Drive.
And if you see a vehicle moving on the screen from right to left, what direction would it be headed towards?
Towards the intersection of Verbena, on Verbena, towards Delphinium, which is a four-way stop.
All right, very good. And I think this video is about a minute and 47 seconds here. What is the purpose of this clip in State's Exhibit 465E?
I just wanted to check yes. I was checking the name of the clip to make sure. But yes, this is a combined clip from both this camera initially here at 5064 Verbena and then at 5050 Verbena. So showing the continuation not only of the first vehicle we will see, which was the Lanz vehicle, and the two following SUVs, which I believe continued on, and the reason for showing 50-50 in combination with this was that the two SUVs continue on Verbena Drive.
Okay, so ultimately, how many vehicles are going to drive past the camera at 5064 Verbena?
3.
Right, and then how many vehicles do you see past the camera at 5050 Verbena?
2.
What is the only intersection between 5064 Verbena and 5059 Verbena that Hicks' residence?
Delphinium.
And so would the first vehicle that you see on past 5064 Verbena have to turn into either a residence or onto Delphinium to miss the 5050 camera?
Yes.
All right, so if we can now go ahead and publish State's Exhibit 465E. I'm going to pause the video with a timestamp of 21:20 and 29 seconds. We will talk about headlights and everything in just a moment, but first to play this through, is this the first vehicle that you indicated, the first out of the 3?
Yes, this is a dark sedan, yes.
And we'll talk about that in a minute, but just play it through. Pausing it with the timestamp of the video being 21:20 and 40 seconds. Is that the first SUV that follows the suspect vehicle?
It is.
Pause it again here with the timestamp of the video being 21:20 and 52 seconds. Is this the second SUV following the suspect vehicle?
It is.
Now pausing the video at 21:20 and 50 seconds. What camera have you now switched to in this combined video?
The camera located inside the upstairs window of the residence at 5050 Verbena, looking out over the driveway and the street.
And so looking directly across the truck there, what driveway is that?
That is the Hicks residence.
And then you can see at least a little bit of light here in this kind of area. What residence or street number is in that location?
That is in the direction of the Lanz residence at 6. Look at with the address that's off of Delphinium, however, the driveway is located on Verbena.
So don't necessarily know the property line, but is that the next property you get to? The 600 Delphinium from 5059?
It is.
So we'll continue to play this. We'll then circle back to it in a few minutes. Pausing the video at 21:21 and 11 seconds. Is this one of the SUVs previously seen passing 5064 Verbena?
Yes, I believe so.
Now pausing the video at 21:21 and 26 seconds. Is that the second SUV that passed the 5064 Verbena address?
Yes.
that is the entirety of states 465E. Now, I know I've referenced the first vehicle, we've referenced it both as the Lanz vehicle as well as the suspect vehicle. Did you have an opportunity to look into the headlights and taillights of Mr. Lanz's vehicle?
Yes.
Was that vehicle brought to Cobb County Police crime shed?
It was at some point, and I simply requested that we make some photographs, hopefully from both ground level and elevated positions, simulating the height of the cameras on these residences.
So backing up just a little bit, at the time that you were able to do this, did police have custody of a vehicle known to belong to Mr. Matthew Lanz?
Yes.
And what type of vehicle was that?
I do not recall the make and model.
That's okay. Was it SUV, sedan, truck?
It was a sedan.
And did you, when you went back while this vehicle was in police custody to take photographs, talk to the court a little bit more about your purpose in photographing the vehicle in terms of lighting, height, and so forth?
In the past, during some of the training that I've received, there had been the usage of, or the detailing of headlight signatures potentially being utilized for the purposes of understanding what vehicles are entering access or egress to an area that may be pertinent to any particular investigation. This is a technique that I used in the past in Cobb County investigations. And I felt that it was significant in this case after I noticed in playing back this footage and the footage from 581 Delphinium Boulevard, noticing some differences in the headlight pattern that was cast upon the ground by the headlamps. This is something that occurs particularly with older vehicles because over time we all know that we'll potentially have a headlamp go out, and when that's replaced, it may not be replaced with an exact matching headlight from the other side of the vehicle. It may be a different strength. There may be things that occur to the vehicle's body, front end, even slight bumping into a curb or into some fixed object may change or alter the position of a headlamp as it shines onto the ground. In this case, I had seen something that I felt like I wanted to see if it was recreated when we had the physical vehicle in the custody of the police, and I requested that they seek a warrant for the purposes of bringing that vehicle into a darkened area on our police campus at the time, and then I asked that a photographer have a ladder present where we might be able to simulate the height of these cameras that were mounted on the eaves of these homes, both on the home on Provena, when I had found the vehicle, I believe to be the vehicle coming into the subdivision towards the scene of this crime, and then both on Delphinium Boulevard, the home that where the vehicle was leaving the area later. I was seeing something that I believed I might be able to identify.
And I know we haven't gotten to all of the surveillance clips yet, but in addition to seeing a particular vehicle, did you see some movement and changes in lighting in the same time period that were of interest to you?
Yes.
And is that part of why this particular vehicle stood out to you in all the surveillance clips?
Yes.
And is that what then led to taking these photographs of Mr. Lanz's vehicle with dark lighting on the police campus?
Yes.
All right, once again, I know you already looked at these photographs prior to taking the stand, but they were not numbered, so I'm going to pass it back to you. This is states 642 through 656. You'll make sure you recognize those.
Yes, I recognize states 642 through 656.
Are these fair and accurate photographs of Mr. Lanz's vehicle that you had taken for purposes of observing the headlights and taillights?
Yes.
State moves to tender states 642 through 656 into evidence.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor, we've had an opportunity to review those.
Thank you. State 642 through 656 are admitted.
May I publish for this case? So looking first at 642, is this the Matthew Lanz vehicle?
It is.
All right, state 643 here. What specifically were you capturing in this photograph?
Just a view from behind the vehicle as its tail lights are illuminated, the tag light illumination, and the front casting of the headlights.
And then looking at state 644, is this a zoomed in photograph showing the taillights?
It is, yes.
looking at state 645, did you have someone inside the vehicle for purposes of using the taillights?
Yes, to eliminate, to confirm there was a third tail light that eliminated brake pedals depressed.
Looking at state 646, what are you showing from the side view of the brake lights initiated?
It's a different,
Are we also seeing that state 647 and 640?
yes, it's really about the angles that may be presented in the surveillance footage, and make sure we have known images that were made by police to compare this to.
Next, looking at 649, what area of the vehicle are we now documenting?
Attempting to document the cast on the ground of the headlight, what I refer to as the headlight's signature.
Okay, and what was it of note? And I know this isn't the best image, but we do have some digital ones that we will get to. But what is it in particular that you were looking at? I believe I brought you the pointer if you'd like to see it.
I have somehow messed it up, but let me.
That's okay.
Yes, if I may, just this area, almost forming what looks like a V, but no distinction on the opposite side.
Okay.
Showing a similar pattern.
Is this looking at state 650? Is that another image of that V mark created on the pavement?
It is.
Right. State 651. Did you take additional angles or photographs of the vehicle?
Yes, I believe this one is obviously a little more direct onto the side, but also at slight elevation.
Can you still see that V mark?
Yes,
Right. States 652. Again, is this a different angle?
it is slightly more towards the rear of the vehicle, slightly behind, looking down.
Right. And can you point out that V shape again?
Yes, absolutely. It's projected here on the ground.
All right. And if you'll just stay standing for a moment, so 653, another angle, yet are you still able to see that V shape on the pavement?
Yes, it's becoming more defined at this point.
States Exhibit 654, is this a higher angle?
It is. This is from an elevated position on all that.
And are you still able to see the V shape?
Yes, it's very distinct.
Okay. State 655, and finally 656, do you continue to see that V shape despite changing the angle of, or the height and angle that the photo was taken?
Yes, this was an attempt to see if that was reproduced at various angles.
Now, in order to fully conduct this comparison, did you also take still shots of the suspect vehicle from the surveillance footage?
Yes.
Okay. And prior to testifying, did you look at a folder on the master drive labeled screenshots of suspect vehicle headlights from surveillance video?
Yes.
And were the images, I believe it was the 10 images contained therein, fair and accurate screenshots that you personally took of the suspect vehicle from the various camera angles?
Yes.
At this time, state moves to tender state's exhibit. $685 into evidence, and for the record, the 10 screenshots within are labeled A through I, so it states 685 A through I.
Any objection?
Let me just check to be sure what that is.
No.
Yes, so don't switch over to the screen quite yet, that way I can pull that. There we go.
No objection, Judge. Those are some that I saw already. I just wanted to be sure that was same.
Thank you. State's Exhibit 685, labeled N685 A through I, is admitted.
All right, may I publish those images?
Yes.
And are these images kind of easier to see digitally as opposed to printed, detective?
Well, I believe so, yes.
So first publishing State's Exhibit 685A. Which vehicle is this screenshot of?
This is the Lanz vehicle.
And so all the 10 images that are contained in this folder, is this all the Lanz vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. And so here, which camera angle are we looking at?
This is the 5064 Verbena driveway camera covering this residence's driveway.
And the timestamp of this screenshot, if you will, please.
21, 20, and 29 seconds.
In this screenshot labeled A, are you able to see that V shape on the pavement?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you please point that out for the board?
Certainly. It's just here on the pavement, just in front of the, primarily the left side headlight.
So the driver's side headlight.
Yes.
Now looking at states 685B, is this the same Lanz vehicle?
It is.
All right, and so the timestamp is it actually the same exact timestamp as A?
Yes, just a frame further.
And in this further frame here, it states 685B. Can you point out that V shape on the page?
Certainly. It's occurring here.
Next, looking at, whoops, apologies. 685C, what have you done to take the screenshot in 685C?
Cropped out some of the side information for the purposes of potentially putting this into a presentation.
And are we going to get to that as well?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So you still see that same V shape?
Yes.
All right, if you'll point it out, please.
Certainly. Just on the left side headlamp on the ground, cast on the ground.
Looking at states 685D, what is it that you are capturing from this screenshot that also has the timestamp of 21/20/29?
The same. These are a series of images that I was utilizing for the purposes of potential use in presentation, determining for my purposes which one I felt most comfortable.
Okay. Are we also seeing the same in states 685E?
Yes, a little less prominent in that angle.
Now looking at 685F, what, and I know we haven't gotten this far in terms of the actual videos, but what surveillance system are we now looking at?
581 Delphinium Boulevard, the residence that their driveway sits off of Dahlia Way. This is actually Delphinium Boulevard, and this is the front yard of that residence. And my interest in this particular house was, number one, I noticed the camera and I knew it was a high-end system, just based on the camera. The placement of the camera and the position that this house was built in was one of the shortest distances for a front lawn to the roadway. And so this became a primary home of interest for my understanding. This was actually the first video that I acquired because I believed that the point of access and egress to the crime scene was most likely on Delphinium Boulevard at the time. And so I chose and selected a large block of time from this residence to review and examine.
And in that large block of time is this timestamp here, where it has 10:11:29 PM. Is this the only time that you see the suspect vehicle captured on this surveillance system?
Yes, it is.
All right, and if you continue the direction that this vehicle is driving, what intersection do you end up at?
This is Delphinium headed out of the subdivision for the travel of this vehicle, the next intersection. Other than any side streets within it would be Bells Ferry.
Okay, very good. And here, were you able to see that V shape casted onto the pavement?
Yes, this would have been some of the, I think I already testified, this was some of the earliest videos that I acquired after the 50/50 Verbena video. This was where I first noticed this headlight, what I'm referring to as a headlight signature, where the signature cast by the headlights of the vehicle appeared to be distinctive enough to identify one vehicle from it.
Looking now at.
That's some damn good detective work right there.
An additional frame of that same.
I mean, now that he says it, it's noticeable,
You still see
but
the headlights.
I don't think the average person would catch that.
I need to relabel this because this is actually.
Because that's a good catch, man.
G, so I will relabel that.
Good way to identify a
for this
vehicle,
relabel.
real
But is
fast,
this,
real
is
easy.
the cropped version of
That's impressive.
685G.
Yes, in fact.
That came from
probably indicate this is the
years of
that I
experience.
utilized, for presentation purposes and another.
And then what's currently labeled, and again, I'll have to switch these by one letter, but 685H, is that the same Lanz vehicle?
It is the same vehicle, a little further down the road, looking at the back end of the vehicle.
Does that capture the taillight?
It does.
And finally, what's currently labeled as I, what are we looking at in this screenshot?
Vehicle has applied brakes, indicating, and this shows that the vehicle did have a third taillight, position of the third taillight, which in some cases can be different.
And zooming in there, does that further depict the third additional taillight with the brakes applied?
It does.
And is that part of why when you had photographs taken of Mr. Lanz's vehicle, you had the brakes applied?
It is, for the fact of anything that might be unique or different in the known images from the images captured in the video, the homeowner's video.
Very good. Now, again, prior to testifying, well, going back to the presentation that you created, in order to further look at these headlight signatures, did you also take screenshots of other vehicles that passed by the 5064 Verbena Drive address?
I did. Yeah,
And prior to testifying, did you look at the folder that was labeled screenshots of other vehicles from surveillance video?
I did.
And were there 4 images contained within that folder?
I don't recall the number.
Okay, but did you look at all the
Yes,
images?
I
Okay,
did.
and are all those images screenshots you personally took?
Yes.
All right, at this time, state moves to Senator States 486 into evidence.
Okay.
I'm sorry, 686. I apologize. Numbers are not great.
That's a 686. Right, 686 is admitted.
Thank Thank you, Your Honor. May I publish this?
Yes.
And those 4 images are labeled A, B, C, and D. So looking first at 686A, is this a different vehicle captured on 5064 Verbena?
Yes,
All right, does that have any sort of V-shaped headlight signature?
it does not.
Looking at state 686B, is this a different vehicle from Mr. Lanz's vehicle captured on 5064 Verbena?
It is.
Okay, does this have a different headlight signature, meaning not the V-shaped headlight signature?
It does have a different signature than what I was looking for.
Whoops. Looking at 686C, how do we know this is not the Lanz vehicle?
We do not see the headlight signature of that.
And then finally, 686D, is this one of the SUVs we previously saw in states? .465D.
It is.
Did that have the headlight signature that you were looking for?
It did not.
All right, now going back, did you create a comparison between the known images of Mr. Lanz's vehicle and the screenshots of his vehicle captured on the various surveillance systems?
I did.
And what was the purpose of creating that comparison?
I prepared that for the investigators, the primary and secondary investigators of the case. Generally, there are times when some of my concepts and some of the things I think of to do for casework, maybe it's better that it's seen. My work is seen rather than try to explain it to them. And so there are times when I try and make it very clear.
For the visual learners.
For visual learners.
All right, very good. I'm going to show you states 479. Do you recognize that 2-page document in states 479?
I did.
All right, and how is it that you recognize it?
It's a document that I produced as a PDF file for the investigators and for their case.
Very good. State News Defender states 479 in the evidence.
Any objection?
That's the second page too.
States 479 is admitted.
May I publish?
Yes.
So looking at this first page here, have we previously seen these 3 screenshots?
We have.
Okay. If you will walk through from left to right each of these screenshots and where it was taken from.
Certainly, from left to right, the left image is a known image made under search warrant at the Cobb County Police headquarters at the time, 140 North Mary Parkway, in a dark portion.
Don't forget to hit that follow button,
buildings on either
please.
side creates a
Hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube.
capture what I believe was the headlight signature that
Do
I
all the
identified in
things.
the surveillance video.
All the
The next
YouTube and
image
Twitch
was the
things.
arrival
Appreciate you guys.
vehicle with, I believe, a matching headlight signature at on November 17th, 2021, approximately 21:20 hours. And this is captured, the middle image is captured from the 5064 Verbena Drive residential surveillance system. The final third image is from later on November the 17th, 2021 at 10:11 or 22:11 and 29 seconds from the residence at 581 Delphinium Boulevard.
And so looking at page 2 of states 479 here, what is it that you were able to determine in comparing these 3 screenshots?
A matching headlight signature for each of the residential videos that were acquired from the scene and the known image, matching the known image made under search warrant by the Cobb County Police with the vehicle in custody, the known vehicle of the Lanz vehicle. And then thereby showing that access into the area, or ingress into the area toward the crime scene and egress from the crime scene post-incident, and thereby narrowing the time frame for this incident.
So going back to states 465 now, I want to play states exhibit E again. Now, in addition to observing the headlight signature that you just walked us through, what else was of interest to you once the camera view switched to 50/50 Verbena? Do you want me to ask another question?
I'm going to need you to repeat the question because I somehow I got lost.
That's okay. On this clip here, so we're going to start on E. The first camera from 5064 Verbena. Do you see the headlight signature?
Yes.
Okay. Once the camera, that you've combined, once it switches to the 50/50 Verbena Drive address, do you see that headlight signature?
I apologize, I did not follow that. But you do not.
Okay.
And that was one of the purposes of producing that clip, that work product.
Now, do you see any other lighting that was significant to you once you're at the 50/50 Verbena Drive camera?
Well, it's difficult to say, but they're in sequence, those vehicles traveling down the roadway. There appears at one part of the before the first SUV that would have been following the Lanz vehicle comes down the road, there appears to be light that goes off into the shrubbery behind and to the north side of the target property, which was the Lanz residence.
If the vehicle, the Lanz's vehicle that we see driving down Verbena at the earlier part of the street, what side of the road do you then see some of the reflective light?
On the right-hand side of the road.
And is that the same side of the road where the Lanz's residence is?
Yes.
Okay. Is it possible that you may have that same sort of reflective lighting if someone were to be pulling into the Lanz's driveway?
I believe it would be, yes.
Now, is the Lanz's driveway captured at all on the 50/50 Verbena camera?
It is not.
All right, so we will now replay State's Exhibit 465E. I'm going to pause it here with the timestamp at the bottom of the screen being 21:20 and 49 seconds. We are now at the 50/50 Verbena Drive camera location. If you will stand up, and when you see a little bit of that reflective lighting, indicate that for the court. I know it's hard with lighting here. We'll go ahead and resume.
Just there. You can see back in this area, so several frames before that. When you, yeah, so there it is occurring.
Oh, whoops, I think I pressed play again. Hold on, let me go back. All right. So we're going to resume it at 21:20 and 51 seconds from 50/50 Verbena.
Just there.
And the timestamp there is 21:20 and 54 seconds.
It is.
Do you continue to see that at 21:20 and 55 seconds?
You do.
Does that continue up until 21:20 and 57 seconds?
Not quite.
Okay, just shy of that.
Yeah, well, actually, now you're seeing a similar pattern, but we've reached a point, and having noted in the earlier video with the 3 vehicles passing, in this same clip that we were just watching, the 3 vehicles were passing 5064 Verbena. The front vehicle is, I believe, the Lanz vehicle. The second 2 vehicles are SUVs. The first vehicle behind the Lanz vehicle is approximately 8 to 10 seconds traveling behind. And so when this clip starts, the first part of the clip is actually still occurred when this clip starts. So what I'm trying to indicate is that the vehicle's progression, as 8 seconds later from the time we see those lights, approximately, we should see an SUV passing up, if in fact, potentially the Lanz vehicle turned in or pulled off at the driveway of 600 Delphine.
Again, we'll continue on from that point and play the remainder. All right, I now want to look at state 465G. The timestamp, at least for the very beginning here, what is the timestamp where this video clip starts? So this is 465G.
21:30 and 1 second.
We're going to jump ahead a little bit to about 21:31 and 30 seconds. But what is it that you were capturing or focusing on during this clip?
I believe this is a clip that when I first noticed movement, and I believe a person traveling into onto the property, the Hicks property.
And do you see any sort of lights or reflections that were important to you later on when we get to some other video clips?
Do I see them now?
No, no,
Oh, I apologize.
that's okay. Do you see some changes in lighting coming from the Hicks' residence during this clip?
Yes.
Alright, we're going to play it. We will end up circling back once we get to later video footage. I'm going to, for clip G, we are going to skip to 21, 31, and 29 seconds. And if you will, indicate to the court when you see some of the activity on the screen that's significant to you.
There.
I'm going to stop it at 21, 31, and 36 seconds. All right, what is it that changed on this screen?
Well, the backyard, there's lighting that has come on in the backyard.
And we've had images as well as some testimony about floodlights at the sensor floodlights at the Hicks' residence. Is that what's being illuminated here in 21, 31, and 36 seconds?
I certainly believe it. Yes.
Now, do you see any associated movement in the same area?
Yes.
If you will, as you see that movement, please indicate that for the court as it's difficult.
Here in this area.
Stopping at 21:32 in 9 seconds, can you point out for the court what's noticed in this frame?
In this frame, this is a later determined. I determined this to be a Nest camera that was probably utilized by the family simply for live viewing and was not recording at the time. However, I believe this is a signature of the infrared illuminator for that camera for covering a porch area that's a side entrance off the garage to the residence.
And as we get kind of further into these clips, do you do a similar comparison looking at that infrared reader and later clips that we'll be viewing?
Yes, I did.
So we'll circle back to that in a little bit and continuing this video. And again, if you'll just point out any movement that you are able to see. Now here I'm going to pause it at 21:32 in 28 seconds. Do you see any additional lights come on?
Yes.
And what light or what area of the Hicks residence do you see the additional light?
I believe that is actually the front doorway or front porch area and lighting from that location.
Now, are you also aware of any censored floodlights in the front of the house?
I don't recall.
Certainly, did you see any movement come across the garage or anything like that?
I did not. I was aware in reviewing the video that these seem to have been triggered at times by maybe vehicles or activity out on the roadway or what would be the front yard of that residence. So I suspected they were censored. Yes.
Okay. But nonetheless, did you see any movement go in front of the garages towards the front door?
No, I do not. These are the garage doors, and I did not depict any movement across there during this time frame.
For these particular lights that you see illuminated, is it possible to either be motion censored from something on, what is this, do you recall the street name there? Madonna maybe? Or
Yeah, I don't. The pronunciation, I'd have to I'm not visualizing it to pronounce it. Yeah, I knew it started with an M.
I'm passing you states 475.
Yes. Menarda.
Menarda, okay.
Menarda Way, yes.
So could that have been some sort of activity on Menarda Way that triggered the lights?
It could have been.
Okay, likewise, could it have been actually someone inside the Hicks residence turning on their front porch lights?
It's entirely possible.
Was there anything based on the timing of these lights being illuminated in the front of the house that would have told you one way or the other if it's a human turning on like a light switch versus it being activated by sensors?
Not for me. Reviewing the video now.
We will continue on.
Here. So the
Just pausing it at 21:32:45.
prior question was at any point when I see
Absolutely.
movement for me to identify or stop you. You actually begin to depict some movement back here, and this is actually a person coming out of the, if you'll think back to the daylight images, the shrubbery that was here on the Hicks property, basically coming around the shrubbery from the side of the house, and now entering onto the grass area between the landscape, shrubbery, and the roadway.
Okay, and then we'll continue on.
And then now onto the roadway and away from the residence. Because of what I mentioned earlier, this area here, which is we're getting some ambient light. You can tell that there's ambient light from the room that's creating this reflection back into the camera lens. The recording is picking this up, and so it becomes more and more difficult to depict that movement moving up and out of the area, or vice versa coming into the area.
And we'll continue on just for a few seconds here.
Still movement.
And do we kind of lose movement at
Yeah,
this
I believe
point?
that's the extent of what I can see is back to this area.
And so we've stopped it at 21:33 and 13 seconds. I do want to go back momentarily to 21:31 and 34 seconds, this time using the zoom function. So we'll resume this video. And again, that was at 21:31.
Yes.
That's
when
with that.
when the movement occurs in the backyard. Initially here, it's depicted. As this clip plays, we'll actually see some object passes between the source of light, the floodlights, close enough to create shadow briefly, very briefly, in this area and across the spectrum of this light. But at this point, there is someone in the backyard moving, and then they'll move closer to the light source, creating some shadowing, and then they will move out of the light source in this area and toward the side of the house, the garage side of the house where there's a porch or a doorway.
Alright, so we'll continue on.
There, the shadowing had just occurred, moving closer to the light source, causing a shadow. And now moving towards the side of the home. The sensor for the backyard will kick off. The sensor for the side door infrared illuminator will kick on. Front lights have initiated, and now we begin to see some movement here on the shrub line, and now we'll see someone, a person, moving out toward across the grass to the roadway and moving up from the home towards 600 Delphine.
We will now pause at the timestamp on the video shows to be 21:32 and 58 seconds. Alright, next, looking at stage 460. Right?
Yeah, let's take it on about an hour and 40. We'll give
Yes, ma'am.
seconds, everyone. Why don't we come back at 10:50?
Okay, thank you.
Stand in recess. We are back on the record, the state of Georgia versus Matthew Scott Lanz, 229000922. Oh, all parties are present. You may proceed, Amy Green.
Thank you, Your Honor. Alright, so detective, to continue on, we're still on stage 465, some of those video clips. We're going to speed along watching some of these, but just so that the court is clear, in observing movement, were you in any way trying to make an identification of who is seen on this video?
No, I did not and do not believe it's possible to make an identification.
Nonetheless, when looking at it in totality, particularly with the vehicles, was it helpful in developing your timeline?
Yes, it was.
Alright, very good. So we will continue on looking next at states 465H. And I will jump ahead to 21:37 and 28 seconds. We'll just play a few seconds here. Pausing now at 21:37 and 31 seconds. Did the front lights go out at that point?
Yes, they did.
And again, is there any way to know whether that was initiated by a human versus light sensors?
Not to, no.
Right, very good. Moving on to states 465I. And the timestamp we'll start it is 21:43 and 49 seconds. While it's difficult to see, can you see some movement on the street?
Yes.
Okay, and can you back it up just a few seconds there to 21:44 and 01? If you'll point out the duration in which you see someone walking on the street being broken up.
The movement is here in this area, and it's a person that travels down. The most extent of that travel is just about here, and then reverses course. It's now seen moving back up the roadway in the northern, basically a northern direction.
Okay, we'll
And
stop.
here's the extent of the movement, pretty much out here.
Whoops. We'll stop that video at 21:44 and 38 seconds. I'm sorry, 38 seconds. All right, next we will look at states 465. Okay, I'm sorry, L. We're going to start that at 21:52 and 0 seconds. And if you will point out when you start to see some of that movement on the screen. There.
I apologize, but I need to be able to see this screen.
That's okay.
In order to depict what I'm seeing, because on this screen it's even more difficult.
Okay.
So the smaller the image, and the ability to overcome the challenges with the setup of this camera are difficult. The movement is here, and it will continue around this corner, and it is the most difficult of all these images to see movement. But it is a person moving around this corner of the shrubbery, but because it is my belief they are so close to the shrubbery that the camera is having difficulty determining between what is movement and what is just the shrubbery. Because in a nighttime, if this were daylight, we would see it easily. But with these low light conditions and the distance, it's basically just like ghosting. But you will see movement that comes around this corner very tight onto the shrubbery.
There you go. We'll continue on. Now at the bottom of the screen here, we start seeing a person that's more visible. Where is that person coming from?
So that is the homeowner for 50/50 Bermuda. And he is, has exited his residence to walk his dog. He'll be briefly in this area to pass his wife, who comes out with a second dog.
Okay.
For the same purpose.
That's
And then they enter their home.
Very good, thank you. As this is continuing to play, will we ever see any lighting coming from the Hicks's residence on this clip?
Do not recall if this clip goes far enough into 21:55 for the back lights, but it is around that time that back lights are illuminated. I just don't recall if it's on this clip or not.
know we've gone a few seconds kind of past it at this point, but what is the hour and minute that we now see the backyard floodlights illuminated?
21:55 and 43 seconds is where we're stopped. Just a couple of seconds prior to that is when the backyard lights illuminated.
All right, we'll play this till the end. Then, what is the timestamp in which those backyard floodlights turn on?
21:55 and 52 or 3 seconds.
And then we'll just go ahead and play out the rest of the video. All right, next, looking at 465N, slightly out of order, but in chronological order. So we'll play 465N. What is the timestamp at the start of this video clip from 50/50 Bermuda?
22:10 and 1 second.
Okay, well, and do you see any lighting in this video?
We do currently, and we will, the floodlight for the driveway and the walkway to the front door area is illuminated. And we will see the backyard floodlights come on again and see movement back there.
Okay, we'll go ahead and play the entire clip.
Did you, again, I didn't know if from earlier you had wanted me to.
Yes, so we'll go back just a few seconds here at 22:10 and 07 seconds.
Okay.
So what is the timestamp when they first turn on?
22:10:08.
Okay, and then if you will, use the pointer to show the movement that is seen, the movement and shadows that can be depicted from this area.
So in this area, we see movement away from the residence, and I believe it depicts a person moving away from the residence at this point, 22:10 and 17:18 seconds.
That is the entirety of the clip. Now, detective, between 21:55 hours and 22:10 hours, when we see those black back floodlights turned on, is there any other point in time within that 15 minutes that they come on?
The back floodlights do not.
Okay, so just because we skipped that chunk of time, was there anything significant in terms of backyard activity between 21:55 and 22:10?
Not in my review.
All right, next we will play 465M. And just to remind the court, this clip labeled M, what residence are we looking at?
This is 581 Delphinium Boulevard. This is the driveway to the residence, which is actually their address, their physical home address is Delphinium, but their Dahlia Way is where their driveway.
And on the very upper left quadrant, what is the major roadway? Not major, but the other roadway that's depicted in addition to
This is
Dahlia.
Delphinium
Okay, very good.
Boulevard, and this is Dahlia Way.
Okay, very good. So we'll play the entirety of clip M. During those two different angles from the 581 Delphinium, are you able to see Lanz's vehicle?
Yes.
Okay, and are you able to see the headlight stamp, certainly from the view looking straight onto Delphinium?
The headlight signature is visible, and that's why I believe it is the Lanz vehicle.
And just to start the clip again briefly, what is the hour and minute, we don't need the seconds, but at least the hour and minute that we see the Mr. Lanz's vehicle passing on Delphinium?
22:11.
Okay, which is 10:11 p.m.
It is 10:11 on this system, yes. PM.
Now I want to go to States 565O. What are we about to watch in States 565O?
Interestingly, just a short time after we had seen the movement in the backyard of this residence, there's a vehicle that arrives on the street. This is that SUV arriving, and we later were able to determine that this was a package delivery. The delivery driver exits the driver's side, goes around the passenger side, and makes a delivery to the porch area where we see the illumination of the infrared illuminator for the Nest lighting. which gave me the reference for a known occurrence of a delivery. And that's where that package was left, so we know that that would trigger that infrared eliminator.
Okay, very good. And if you will, please, as we see this delivery person exit the vehicle and walk around to the side porch area as you described, if you can assist by using your pointer.
Certainly. Pointers likely not even needed because the driver, you'll see, is
Yes.
illuminating
Yes.
at their feet with their flashlight, or probably on their phone, walking around past the garage doors up to a walkway leading to a porch area where there is a dual entrance, a side entrance to the home.
Okay, I'm going to pause it at 22-17-16. What else do you see in this clip here?
We get an indication here of a known triggering of the infrared lighting of the Nest camera that was not live. Was not recording, but was in fact live.
And we will look at some screenshots of this in a moment, but let's play this through till the end. All right, now, prior to taking the stand, did you also look at a folder labeled Nest IR with a state's exhibit number of 481?
Yes, I did.
All right, does that contain 3 separate images that you created based off this surveillance footage at 50/50 Delphine, or I'm sorry, 50/50 Bermuda?
Yes, it does.
Okay, are those fair and accurate screenshots, 2 screenshots as well as an overlay of those 2 images for purposes of looking at the infrared camera?
Yes.
State moves to tender state's exhibit 481 in evidence.
Any objection? States 481 is admitted.
So I first want to start with may I publish, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. 481.